She scrambled away on her hands and knees, but it wasn't going to get her far. It was also going to put her in a bad position to fight back, and she turned just as the man lunged at her with the express purpose of holding her down against her will. "I don't know what you want, but you've messed with the wrong girl this time." When he landed, she brought her knee up and struck it against his groin again. This made his eyes go wide underneath the mask, and he rolled to the side holding onto his package. Grunting something underneath his breath, it seemed to her that she was being cursed at. "I warned you, and now that you've taken this action, then there is no going back." She was now on her knees, but she was reaching for the counter of the kitchen to pull herself up to a standing position. The man was at least twice her size, and she felt a little like David fighting Goliath. "I'm gonna kill you, and then you won't be a problem anymore. I don't like you, and I never liked you, and you coming into our world was the worst thing that you could ever do. I need total anonymity for what I have in mind, and your constant staring in my direction has made me realize that I have to get rid of you." "Well, stop talking about it, and do something about it." Scandal had just said something that shocked this man, and she was backing up towards where the knives were located in the butcher block, while at the same time keeping her eyes narrowed on his. "You are gonna regret ever stepping forward as a new member. Sasha was right, and you're nothing but trouble, and I don't need your kind of trouble. My business is mine, and I don't want you sticking your nose where it doesn't belong." "Like I said, if you're going to do something about it, then this is the only time you're going to get." She could see that the gun was now lying helplessly on the floor behind him. But if he were to realize that, he would turn around and grab it and use it with extreme force. "Just think of what the headlines would be if I were to take you down. A girl taking down a member of the Road Warriors would make you a laughingstock amongst your own kind." She was egging him on, trying to make him make a mistake that was going to cost him dearly. "I don't care if Deacon likes you, and I've done my research and found that you're just a nosy reporter trying to make her bones on trying to find something incriminating on the club. You can't possibly think that the Deacon knows everything that's going on, and his idea of illegal is keeping the IRS from finding the funds that we have made illegally. What you're trying to say without saying anything at all is that you're some kind of mastermind, and you're working whatever illegal enterprise behind his back. What do you suppose would happen if he were to find out about that? I know that he has said with conviction that he would not stand for anything that was outside of the charities." She had to keep him talking so that he wouldn't realize that he didn't have the gun and was going to have to use his bare hands. "I don't know what he sees in you, but when I'm through, there isn't going to be a whole lot left to see at all." He didn't want to get his hands dirty, but it became painfully obvious after he found out what her true profession was that he was going to have to do something that was against his better judgment. "Don't get so bent out of shape about it, because it's not like I found out anything. Now that you've come to me like this, I do have to look into this claim of yours. You just made things worse by coming here, and you shined a spotlight on something that I didn't even know about." She saw him hesitate, and she used that moment to throw a coffee cup so hard that it barely missed his head by a fraction of an inch. It sailed past him, but that was her intention all along, and it crashed into the window with such force that the pane actually shattered on contact. That was when the alarm went off with a piercing siren that began to wail like never before. The man knew that he was in trouble, and that there wouldn't be all that much time before the police would arrive. He knew that the response time for this area was a little different, and that he would have at least 10 to 15 minutes before anybody would come upon the scene. He didn't need all that long, and he'd just snap her neck and leave her body as proof that there was some kind of robbery that went awry. Unfortunately, he didn't take into account that there were CIA officers outside on the street. As he was grabbing her and putting his hands around her throat, she was fighting him with everything she had, and was still able to grip his hand with her nails and begin to scratch across them with the intense purpose of cutting through the skin. "You fucking bitch! I'm gonna make you pay for that!" He heard the wheezing sound coming from her lips, and saw her eyes go wide with shock at how easily he had been able to subdue her. He was hoping to have a bit of fun with her before getting to this moment, but it appeared like he was going to have to quicken his timetable. "You're going to die while you're looking at me in the eye, and not have any idea who's doing this to you." He heard footsteps. He thought it might be an errant jogger going by, and most likely that person would stop for a moment, but then realize that it wasn't any of their business. This was not the type of area to get caught up in other people's problems.
Take your hands off her, and put your hands over your head where we can see 'em."
He saw the reflection of two men in black suits, their hair made up just so, with very dangerous-looking guns in their hands. He was squeezing the life out of her, but their trigger finger was ready to make him pay for that. He had to make a strategic retreat, so he turned the girl towards them and threw her into them so hard that they all sprawled onto the floor together. Using this as a distraction, he bolted out the door, making a run for the woods before disappearing within the shadows. The two CIA officers were now on their feet, one making sure that their charge was fine, while the other one went in search of the attacker.
"We saw the pane of glass explode and we thought you might be in trouble, but we never dreamed in a million years that somebody was trying to kill you. Did you get a good look at him?"
This was not the same agent that she had dealt with in the past, and most likely it was just an underling that was used for surveillance purposes.